is how you want to speak to me. In the privy.
Every superfan dreams of having that ultimate collectible. Well, we're about to make those dreams come true. This is Superfan Builds.
I'm Tim Baker. I've been a master builder and prop maker in film and television for 25 years. If you can dream it, we can build it. There's nothing my crew and I can't make at Tim Baker Creations.
So Tim, when you knew originally you were great at building stuff, did you think I'm always gonna be building nerd stuff?
Yeah, I kinda did.
So our superfan today is John Giovinazzi. He's an incredible Game of Thrones superfan. He's been nominated by his friend, Chloe Dykstra. Let's take a look at her video.
Okay.
My name's Chloe, and I'm nominating my friend John for Superfan Builds because he's a huge Game of Thrones fan. He loves everything Game of Thrones. He's read the books, he's marathoned all the TV shows. So John owns Complex, which is a bar in Glendale that's known for its nerd events, and he's thrown a bunch of different Game of Thrones themed parties. He even has Game of Thrones beer on tap. You guys have to do something. You have to build something for it. It has to be epic. I don't know, something funny, maybe like the Iron Throne as a toilet. I know that John would love that. It would totally fit his personality.
We've had a very specific request for a Game of Thrones Iron Throne toilet. I've sent someone over to take all the measurements so we know how much room the toilet takes up. Now the idea is to build a wooden frame that's gonna go around that toilet, and then we'll build the throne on top of that. Looks like it needs to be multi-piece. We can make one piece that goes all the way against the back wall. That's gonna have all the spiky sword ends on it. We want that to be flat against the wall. When people are drinking, you probably don't want a toilet that has lots of sharp, spiky edges on it. We'll build a front piece that will just go right over that front seat. We'll have a hole in that. We'll put one of those toilet lids on there, and then we can just attach a bunch of our blades, and we'll make a bunch of hilts, and we'll cover it all up and give it the same shape as the Game of Thrones throne. I'm using a jigsaw to cut out the back plate for the throne from 3/4 inch plywood. I have the back plate for the Game of Thrones toilet all cut out. Now I'm gonna grind out all the edges and make them look a little more like swords. Using a 180 grit grinder will give the edges a nice smooth finish. Well, I've got the back plate roughed out. I've ground it so it's a little more sword-like. Now we're gonna attach it onto the back of the seat. There'll still be some more swords that go behind it, and there'll be a lot that go in front, and that'll slide right down. We've got the backboard for the Game of Thrones toilet. It's pretty much in shape now. I'm gonna put on some bendy board, which is a plywood that's made to bend in one direction. That'll give us something to attach all the sword blades to. I'm about halfway done with the actual seat part. Right now I'm gonna cut out the part where your feet will go, because that way you don't have to, stand way back. That shouldn't be very comfortable. We need a whole bunch of swords, so what we're gonna do is I've got 2 swords here that I just had in stock from other projects. We're gonna make a mold of the hilts for them. We'll cast a bunch of those and alter them, and they'll glue all over the chair when we're done. We're molding the sword hilts out of a 2-part plastic. Erica will mix the 2 liquids, a base and an activator, in equal parts to start the reaction for the plastic to harden. She'll pour the plastic into a silicone mold and cover it with a backing that has a core to make the hilts hollow.
And then just let it do its thing. All right, here's our sword hilt. I think it turned out pretty well, and we just gotta make about 200 more.
Using the 2 basic sword hilts, we can break them down into their basic parts and reassemble them in a multitude of ways. By cutting the hilts and sanding them in a variety of ways, we can create the illusion of having hundreds of different swords.
Basically, I'm gluing these hilts that Tim cast in urethane onto these bendy board swords and applying them so they look sort of like they've all been fused together and melted by the dragon's breath.
How can he possibly have any claim to that ugly iron chair?
We're gonna cut the blades for the Iron Throne, and we're using a neoprene foam so that we can easily bend the blades around the shape of the chair so that it looks kind of like a melted metal blade.
Well, we've got all the wood and we've got all the neoprene and the sword handles are all put on. Everything's been glued down. Now we're taking some epoxy resin and we're coating the whole thing. That's gonna make it smooth and it's gonna glue everything together really good so it'll be nice and sturdy. As soon as the epoxy dries, we'll give it to Stacy. She'll get a base coat on it and then we can start painting.
I'm applying a base coat of black matte primer using an HVLP paint gun. The base coat is dry, and now I have several different layers mixed up that we're going to go in and dry brush with. Dry brushing and stippling are techniques in which just a small amount of paint is applied to the surface, and that actually lets us pop out some of the details of it without losing it in like a layer of paint. The main thing that we're doing initially is just starting to build up visual interest by having just layers and layers of color. So we don't really worry too much about how it's going on at first because it's a process of just building up many, many layers.
We've got the first few coats of paint on there. It's starting to look really good. I'm happy with the way that it's got a lot of volume now and it looks really metallic and definitely looks like it's been melted. So it's getting close. It's almost done and I can't wait to get this one out and deliver it to the superfan. I've never really had my artwork used for this exact purpose, I hope.
Now, John, you may be wondering why all these people have invaded your bar today, but we are all here because your friend Chloe nominated you as the ultimate Game of Thrones superfan. So tell us a little bit about how you incorporate your love of Game of Thrones into your bar.
It all started with us kind of just lucking into doing one Game of Thrones trivia event. An hour before we were set to open, there was this like 100-person line out front. Everyone dressed up, and at that point we kind of realized, wow, this is kind of becoming a thing. You know, so that went so well, we did another one that was even crazier.
John, since you're such a big Game of Thrones super fan, we got Tim Baker of Tim Baker Creations to build you a one-of-a-kind Game of Thrones piece of memorabilia for your bar. Would you like to see what it is?
Yeah, because I'm really trying to figure out why everybody's here.
It's right through this door. Would you like to do the honors?
I'm a little nervous, but all right. Oh my God.
Oh my God!
Wow. Oh my God.
You have your very own Game of Thrones Iron Throne toilet.
What's it made out of?
So Tim, how did you go about making this Iron Throne?
We've covered everything with lots of resin. It's all marine resin, so it can protect against ocean seawater. I think you'll be okay with whatever else happens in here. There's over 250 swords in there. We didn't want anything pointy really down here. We kept them towards the wall. It's just made as tough as we can make it and should be pretty easy to take care of. We made you out a map of Westeros here, and we've made a new cover for your seat covers. Everything's made from scratch, even our little toilet roll holder there.
So you have your very own Game of Thrones Iron Throne toilet. What do you think?
I think I just had 3 pints of mead, and I need you guys to give me a little privacy.
Okay, so most definitely another satisfied superfan. Guys, if you have a superfan that you would like to nominate, you can do that by emailing us at superfanbuilds@break.com. Thank you so much for watching, and Chloe and I will give you some privacy. Have fun. Wait, high five first, high five.
So in the Game of Thrones, we have a lot of epic weapons, some even more epic deaths. None of them have been carried out more swiftly than by needle. We place the blade back into the forge and heat it up to critical temperature and quench it in oil for hardening.